Hello, lovely human. Today I want to talk about books and reading and all things related to books, basically. Um, I love reading. However, of late, I would say over the last several years, I have turned to audiobooks much more significantly for my reading in quotation marks. And this is because audiobooks allow me to listen while I do other things. So it feels to me I'm being more productive. So if I'm doing some chores around the house, some errands that don't really require me to think about what I'm doing it pretty much on autopilot. Um, it seems like a really good opportunity to use that time to learn something or to listen to something that will give me enjoyment or teach me something new. And so audiobooks have become my favorite way of consuming books that otherwise I would not really have time to read. Now recently I realized how that sometimes backfires a little bit. So I have on many occasions come across a book that is very highly regarded, or people have recommended it to me, and it's quite a chunky book, and I'm thinking if I actually buy the book itself, I'm never going to finish reading it because I don't ever seem to take the time to just sit down and read without my brain telling me, wait, you need to be doing XYZ task, and hey, you're sitting here doing nothing. Reading feels almost like a luxury that only people who haven't got a lot to do can afford. I know the readers amongst you are probably throwing brickbats at me. I don't mean that. I don't mean that people who read have nothing better to do. But this is kind of my illogical mind telling me how sitting and reading is not being particularly productive, because after all I'm only doing one thing, which is reading, whereas if I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm doing at least two things, if not more. So anyway, so usually what's really important is that the book is narrated by somebody who really understands the essence of what the book is about and uses the right tone, the right pace, the right energy, the right pronunciation, the right voices, depending on what kind of book you're reading. And this is a big ask. This is a big ask. And now people who are seasoned actors, or who've done drama and who are very good at emoting or doing different voices generally do a pretty superb job. So especially if you read some of the classics, or listen to, I should say, that have been narrated by really well regarded thespians, then your experience will most likely be quite good. I think when it comes to nonfiction, sometimes this becomes a problem, because I think most of these actors and people who are voice artists probably don't find nonfiction that interesting, because it can be doesn't have characters, doesn't have all the richness of a fictional story. But for someone like me, who actually mostly listens to nonfiction and fiction, I still want those to be narrated well. Now recently I was listening to, and I'm still listening to, the autobiography of a yogi, a highly recommended book for anyone who's kind of pursuing that spiritual path. And I saw that it was narrated by Ben Kingsley. Now, Ben Kingsley of the Gandhi film, fame. And I thought, oh, this is going to be amazing, because he's of Indian origin. He's a well-known actor. He's got a great voice. He's going to do the book justice. And I have to say that I was so disappointed, because Ben Kingsley has mispronounced almost every single Hindi and Sanskrit word so grievously that it actually causes me physical pain listening to it. And I think what causes me more angst is that here is someone who is actually of Indian origin. Now, he may have gone to great lengths to disguise his Indian origins by changing his name. Perhaps, he had his reasons. I'm not here to judge him. But I think that anyone who then undertakes the task of reading a book that has maybe words in a language you're not familiar with, I think you have a duty to learn how to pronounce it correctly. Honestly, whether you're an Indian person who's reading an English book, learning to pronounce the words correctly, especially unfamiliar words that you may not have used before, understand how they're correctly pronounced, and vice versa. If they're French words, I think we need to do our best to pronounce them in the way the French would. And I was very disappointed that this was not the case in this particular audiobook. And it made me realize that actually some books are just meant to be read, because the words in themselves allow your imagination to go to the place where the author, the writer, is taking you, and bringing another person in with their interpretation, their narration, can create an unhelpful filter that is going to obscure what was really there. So I'm going to be reading much more. Today, for the first time, I marked out an hour in my day, and I sat and I just read a book without feeling any guilt, without feeling I had to rush off and do something else. And I absolutely loved it. And this is going to be my hope from now on, dedicated time to read, but also occasionally enjoy audiobooks. Thanks very much for listening. Look after yourself, and I will be back again very soon with another SMS. Bye-bye for now.